There's one glaring issue with Lamar Jackson's contract situation that I feel like Ravens fans aren't really thinking about, because this honestly could, it really, if you think about it playing out the way it played out last time, it could be bad news in Baltimore. All right, what is going on, good people? Quick video right here for you on Flock Nation Speaks. Full episode coming out probably on Thursday, so be on the lookout. We talking wide receivers again. We talking wide receivers. We talking wide receivers, and why the Ravens may take a little bit of a chance on wide receivers that maybe they shouldn't take a chance on, or maybe not taking the sure thing. But what's going on, good people? DJ from Bill Productions, Flock Nation Speaks. And of course, the full episode coming out later on this week. And you can always watch and listen on multiple platforms. YouTube, you can watch, and also you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, etc., etc. But real quick, I got to thinking, and I was thinking about this, and I've been thinking about this for weeks. I haven't made a video on it, but I've been thinking about it. It's been on my mind. It's been something that has been, I don't think it's been discussed in Ravens forums enough. I don't think has been talked about in Ravens forums enough, in the spaces and whatnot. It makes me wonder, though, because let's talk about kind of the elephant in the room, right? The Ravens don't pay many players after their rookie deals, right? This is a thing. Like, this is like almost like history repeating itself in a way, right? The Ravens don't pay a lot of people after their rookie deals. And when you think about the scenario that the Ravens are in, is kind of a repeat of what Joe Flacco was in a couple years ago, back in 2012, right? 2011, 2012, and it's his fifth year. Doesn't have a contract, bets on himself, wins the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, you hope history repeats itself in that way, but at the same time, it makes you think: do the Ravens feel like they don't need Lamar Jackson to move forward in their plans? Right? The same guy who has created a top 5 offense, which the Ravens have, quite frankly, never really had. Maybe once or twice with Joe Flacco, but for the most part, I mean, the Ravens haven't really had an offense this prolific, right? The Ravens haven't had an offense that can do the things that this offense can do. So it's crazy to think, like, as the Ravens step forward in the offensive area, because it's always been running game and defense, right? And it's still running game. But at least now you see in the running game propel the offense to a top tier offense, as opposed to the running game making you kind of a meh offense because you can't, spread it around the field or whatever. So it makes me think, what if the Ravens make Lamar Jackson almost like bet on himself a little bit and play this season? Because Lamar Jackson has came out and said, hey, I'm not going to do it. The deadline for contract negotiations, is week 1. After week 1, we're not talking about it no more. Now, Lamar Jackson hasn't mentioned holding out or anything like that, so I don't think that would necessarily be an issue for Ravens fans. But at the same time, a guy who has done the things that Lamar Jackson has done, why should he even have to wait until after this season? It's crazy, man, because Joe Flacco was in the same situation. Entered his 5th year. He had just been to the AFC Championship game, if I'm not mistaken, the year before, because this was the year after the Lee Evans and Billy Cundiff debacles that lost the game against the Patriots that, would have had the Ravens doing a little Super Bowl rematch with the New York Giants. So now with Lamar Jackson, he hasn't had quite the playoff success, I guess you could say, as a guy like Joe Flacco did back then. But at the same time, like, his energy and what he brings to the team, and he wins games, what he brings to the team is huge, right? He gives you that extra boost that you need. And it makes me think once again, because, the media has a lot to do with, for some reason, what organizations think of their own players, right? Because how quickly we forget Baker Mayfield, probably about 2 years ago, beat the Steelers for the first time, the first playoff win for the Browns in 20 years. Baker Mayfield was at the helm, beating the Steelers, had a great last stretch of the year. They didn't win the division, but still, they made the playoffs, got that monkey off their back, right? With the Steelers coming, they decimated the Steelers. And then a year later, Baker's playing hurt, darned if he do, darned if he don't, right? And now he's out of Cleveland. So it makes me think, because this has been a thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately, right? Why do organizations not bet on their guys more, right? You draft these quarterbacks with high picks and high potential, and you don't take the time to develop them. You don't take the time to finally put talent around them. So why are we giving up on quarterbacks with so much potential in lieu of quarterbacks who, it's almost like the draft is an open book. You never know what's going to happen, right? You hope that Herbert is the guy you want him to be, but anything can happen. Well, once again, like going back to Carson Wentz for the Eagles, right? Carson Wentz, when he had a couple of injuries and stuff like that, but he was playing at an MVP level at one point in his career, right? There's no way to get him back to that, right? Who knows, right? It's not like he's that old, right? For him, it's all here. But that's the thing. It goes back to it. Like, I feel like organizations give up on quarterbacks way too soon. Now, if there's like this once in a generation talent and it's like really worth the risk, then I get it. Like, I don't necessarily mind the Browns going to get Deshaun Watson in favor of Baker Mayfield, because Deshaun Watson has done some great things when it comes to on the field, when it comes to what he does, when it comes to putting up the numbers, when it comes to even winning games, and putting the Texans in the hunt, way back when, right? So it makes me wonder, are the Ravens, will the Ravens finally pay a QB, right? Because now let's think about it. We just saw it. Hollywood Brown, right? First 1,000-yard receiver that the Ravens have had since Mike Wallace. Well, after Mike Wallace had a 1,000-yard season, he didn't get paid. Torrey Smith didn't get paid, right? So Joe Flacco didn't get paid until he won a Super Bowl. And he had the playoff success that Lamar Jackson doesn't have, supposedly, right? So will the Ravens bet on Lamar Jackson, right? Will the Ravens take the 37 and 12 record that Lamar Jackson has helped to create? Will they take that into the next 5 years, in the next 5 years, right? Because we got to remember, and that's the big key, the Ravens have never, except for one time, so that really doesn't make sense. The Ravens have only paid one quarterback in their history, and that quarterback just so happened to win the Super Bowl the year before. So will the Ravens take the chance, if you want to call it that, on Lamar Jackson? I think it's a chance worth taking, right? Because going back to that whole media thing, the media frenzy, right? The media plays a huge role in what people think about certain players, including organizations, right? Baker Mayfield was that guy, right? The spark plug the Browns needed until he wasn't, right? Until the media said, I don't know about this guy. I don't know. He's kind of got an attitude problem. He's not really a leader, but he was the perfect leader when you were 8-9. Was it 8-9? It wasn't 8-9 back then, but you know what I'm saying, right? When you were one game from being 500, still in the playoff hunt his rookie year, he was that guy. So my hope is, going back to it, that the Ravens trust in Lamar Jackson, trust in what Lamar has done, trust in what Lamar brings to this team. Now, I believe without a shadow of a doubt that they're going to pay Lamar Jackson, right? But my fear sometimes is the Ravens are going to lean more on Greg Roman, right? John Harbaugh, right? Than they will Lamar Jackson, the guy who just looks different, just plays the game different, but has as much success as anybody. So that's my thought process. Haven't given him the talent yet. Haven't given him what he needs, right? we talked about it before. This might be one of the best wide receiving cores the Ravens have had. But at the same time, to everybody else, they're unproven, right? They're unproven. What has Bateman done yet? What has Duvernay done yet? What has Prochet done yet? What has Demarcus Robinson done yet? So that's the thing, right? I think it's about time for the Ravens to bet on a guy that they drafted. Because the Ravens, and somebody, I don't know who it was another YouTuber brought it up. The Ravens don't pay nobody. Matthew Judon. This is defensively included. The Ravens barely pay anybody. Right? They let Michael Pierce walk. They let starting center from last year. I'm blanking on his name. Right? They let him walk last year. They didn't want to pay Orlando Brown to be the best tackle. So that's the thing. They didn't want to pay Orlando Brown he wanted to be a left tackle. I would have paid him left tackle money. You ain't spending money on anything else. So that's the thing. The Ravens got to pay Lamar Jackson right now before week 1. Don't even leave any doubt. As always, you can watch and listen to Flock Nation Speaks on Facebook, YouTube. Actually, not on Facebook. On YouTube, you can listen to us, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the great podcast platforms that there are out there. We probably own all of them. So, as always, we'll see you guys in a couple of days for a full episode. We're going to talk about them receivers and